PSG have just booked their ticket to the Champions League final where they will be taking on Inter Milan after beating Arsenal across 2 legs. And now PSG have the chance to make history and possibly win their first ever UCL. On the other side, you got Arsenal, and we just witnessed their season come to an end. There's nothing left for them to play for. This was their only chance at winning a trophy this season, this UCL. And I think that PSG were just simply the better team. PSG have been the Premier League killers in the UCL this season. They knocked out Liverpool. They knocked out Aston Villa. And they knocked out Arsenal. PSG from Ligue 1 have just slapped 3 very good English teams. That's actually crazy when you think about it. But that Inter Milan matchup is going to be pretty interesting. And I'm excited to see how PSG and Inter go up against each other when that game is going to kick off. And we will be here with the watch along. But before we continue, I need you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you thought about this game. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. But I just need to say this. Saliba, hand in that transfer request. We all know Real Madrid wants you. And you are now going to finish another season under this fraudulent manager without a trophy. You don't deserve this. And I think you were pretty mid today. Let's not even sugarcoat it. Saliba wasn't up to his usual level. But I think that your mind is already in Spain. You see that Trent Alexander-Arnold news, right? You see that we're going to be back next season. You want to be a part of that. You don't deserve to be not winning trophies at Arsenal. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need you to just hand in that transfer request. I think Arteta has proven that he is not the guy to lead them to the promised land. Okay? Because this game right here, aside from the opening 10-15 minutes, Arsenal didn't really do that much. They came out on fire. But Donnarumma today, man of the match, what a performance from him. This guy was making big save after big save. Arsenal could have scored their first goal in the opening 5 minutes. Declan Rice had an open header that went wide. Martinelli, I believe that he had a chance as well that Donnarumma saved. And then Ødegaard, he had a very good strike. And then Donnarumma made another big save. Like, if it was not for Donnarumma, Arsenal could have been up 2-1 in the opening 10-15 minutes. But after the game kind of settled down a little bit, right? Like, once PSG got more into it, Arsenal weren't able to do that much. Arsenal stopped looking dangerous. They showed us a vibe that they couldn't maintain. If Arsenal would have just kept that same intensity that they started off this game with, they would have been able to possibly do something here. But too many of their players just went missing. Arsenal's midfield today, I think all 3 of them were mid. Martin Ødegaard, once again, going missing in a big game. You are the captain of your team, and you are nowhere to be seen. Declan Rice, this guy might still be living off of those 2 performances against Real Madrid. Today, he was nowhere to be seen, non-existent. I didn't even notice Declan Rice throughout this game, aside from him missing that header in the opening minutes. Thomas Partey was suspended for the first leg. Everybody talked about how much of a miss he was, and that Thomas Partey coming back for this second leg is going to change the dynamic. Thomas Partey didn't do anything. PSG's midfield looked a lot better, and that's because it is better. PSG are a very scary team. I don't think that any club in the world has the technical ability like PSG do. Their midfield, their front 3, their fullbacks on the ball, phenomenal. The way that they're able to just move it so effortlessly. The way that they were hitting Arsenal on the counter. Because PSG in that first half had two very good counterattacking opportunities. And if Barcola and if Desiree Doué were better at finishing, this game could have been wrapped up at halftime. Just to be very honest, David Raya made two very good saves on the counterattacks, but I think that Doué and Barcola made it very easy for him. When I brought up Saliba was mid earlier, Saliba was responsible for one of those big chances that PSG got. He played an awful pass. PSG intercept the ball, counterattack is on. The finishing was very mid, and that's a problem that PSG have, right? They're very good on the ball. They have a good style of play. They hold possession well. They're great in transition, but they don't have anybody in the final third that's a major threat aside from Ousmane Dembele. Yes, Desiree Doué can score a beautiful goal. Yes, Kvaratskhelia can score a very good goal as well. But consistently, they don't have that threat. And that could be something that hurts them against Inter Milan, who, in my opinion, are the favorites to win this UCL. The fact that PSG, after losing Mbappe on a free, is now headed to the UCL finals, that is crazy. If PSG win this tournament, Mbappe is cooked. Mbappe left them for free, came to Real Madrid. We have one of our worst seasons in a while Mbappe comes on his debut season. And then PSG go on and make the UCL final. Brother, if they win it, he's getting destroyed. I'm telling you right now. Mbappe will never admit it, but deep down, he's hoping and praying to God that Inter Milan win the final. But the two goals scored today by PSG, taken very well. Fabian Ruiz with the opening, the volley. I mean, that came out of nowhere. And then in the second half, Hakimi with the silencer. Like, that was it. Once they went up 3-0, it's kind of like you figured that Arsenal weren't going to be able to get back into it. And then Saka got the consolation goal. But aside from that, I mean, Saka did have when Saka scored the opening goal for Arsenal, a few minutes later, he did have a big chance that he missed. Like, I forget who played that ball into the box, but it gets past Donnarumma and it falls to Saka's foot, and it's an open net, but the ball bounced off of Saka's foot like he had a pair of trampolines on his boots. It was crazy. Clear chance, missed. That could have maybe swung the momentum Arsenal's way to maybe do a remontada. But I guess not. Mikel Arteta is such a scrub. I don't know what process Arsenal are following. I don't know what phase it's going to be considered now. This guy is not him. He's not going to lead Arsenal to the promised land. He is a coward. Tactically, the fact that Ethan Nwaneri did not see the pitch today is a disgrace. Ethan Nwaneri, we all know he's a young player, but he's a threat in the final third. You're losing this game. You're the team that needs to score. And two of the subs that you make is Calafiori and Ben White. What are they going to do? I don't understand. You need to be throwing the kitchen sink at it. You need to try and get goals, and you don't bring on Nwaneri. How does Martin Ødegaard play 95 minutes today? How does some of these other, like Martinelli, I think, started off the game very well, right? Martinelli was on smoke. Martinelli was their focal point. Martinelli, I think, had just as good of a game as Saka. In the first half, Martinelli was better than Saka. Arsenal's game plan was to attack Hakimi. They were going through Martinelli in the opening 10-15 minutes. But aside from that little opening period, what did he do? How does Ethan Nwaneri not see the pitch today? If I was him, I'm handing in a transfer request. Because that, to me, is crazy. I think that Mikel Merino, non-existent. Yeah, he's playing out of position, right? We all know that he's not a 9. He's really a midfielder. But he did a decent job there, right? He played well against Real Madrid. I think people expected a bit more from him, right? And there were times when Arsenal played the ball into the box, but there was nobody there. because they lack an actual 9, right? Both these teams came into this matchup without actually having a striker. But the difference is the style of football that PSG play and the technical level of their team allows them to be a lot more fluid with their front three. I think Desiree Doué today, mid. Across these two legs, not impressed. I rate Doué. I think he's a baller, but he was stinky. Miles Lewis-Skelly, mid. And by the way, that handball that they gave as a penalty, awful pen decision. Like, it pisses me off when I see handballs like that become penalties. Because people don't realize you have to use your arms to balance. So what is a defender meant to do? Like, how should he position his arms to balance himself to defend better? It makes no sense. And ball don't lie. Because Vitinha takes one of the worst penalties that we've seen for a while. That was an awful pen by Vitinha. Easy save for Raya, who I believe was Arsenal's man of the match. But Lewis-Skelly, though, regardless of the penalty decision, mid today. Saliba, like I said, mediocre. I think Jurrien Timber was decent. Kiwior, mid. Right? Like, PSG at times looked very comfortable in the final third. It seemed like they were holding the ball really well. Yeah, I think mostly everybody for Arsenal was just, I don't know, like the second half, I thought that they would come out on smoke. I thought that they would come out very quickly, like what they did in the first half. But they didn't do anything. Opening 20 minutes, no threats. Donnarumma, again, man of the match, made big saves. Saka had that one shot that would have been a crazy goal. But Donnarumma got to it, fingertip save. I mean, look, PSG are just a better team. Plain and simple, right? Like, that's all that there is to it. PSG deserves to go through. PSG outplayed Arsenal, right? Arsenal didn't really have that many answers for PSG. The fact that Arsenal in that first leg did not score a goal at home, you lose 1-0, and then you barely get a goal today, making PSG defensively look like one of the best teams in Europe, getting locked up. Nah, it's crazy, bro. But I want to know what you guys think, man. Get in that comment section. Subscribe. Turn on those post notifications. Saliba, come to Madrid, brother. I know that you want to play with Mbappe. I know you want to play with Camavinga, Tchouameni. I know you want to do that. It's not going to happen at Arsenal.